Streaming live across the country, tackling the topics everyone is talking about online. Share, engage, and interact. This is Newsfeed Now.
And good Friday, everyone. We have finally made it to the weekend. It is October 2nd, and I'm Mitch McCoy. This is Newsfeed Now, a show where we take a look at the stories creating a buzz online. The biggest news right now, as you might imagine, is President Donald Trump and the First Lady, who have both tested positive for the coronavirus. The news came shortly after we learned that Hope Hicks, one of the president's top aides, tested positive. Hicks was with the president at the debate in Cleveland on Tuesday and in Minnesota on Wednesday. We're learning that's when she started having symptoms, which means she could have been contagious earlier. We want to get straight to the very latest on this. We go to Trevor Shirley in the Washington, D.C. Bureau. Good morning to you, Trevor. Catch us up on what's happening just within the last hour or so.
Hey, good morning. Most recently, we heard from the White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, who talked to the press just a little while ago. He said that the president is experiencing mild symptoms of this disease. He's in quarantine right now, and he plans to continue working remotely, essentially, from the White House residence. We also just saw a tweet from the First Lady, Melania Trump, who also says that she is experiencing mild symptoms herself. Some good news out of all of this. So far this morning, we know that the Vice President Mike Pence and his wife have both tested negative for the virus, as has Ivanka Trump, the president's daughter, and her husband, Jared Kushner. Also worth pointing out that President Trump's son, Barron, has also tested negative for the virus.
So we know now this morning about those mild symptoms. Do we know yet what those symptoms are? Because we know what COVID-19 can do. It can bring a headache, it can bring a fever, shortness of breath, etc. The list goes on.
Yeah, at this point, we've not been given any indication as to the specificity of what exactly constitute those mild symptoms that the president and the First Lady are feeling.
What do we expect a quarantine to look like at the White House for the president?
Well, we know from Mark Meadows, the Chief of Staff, that the president's working, is quarantining inside of the White House residence. In terms of a length of quarantine, it could potentially last anywhere from 10 days to 2 weeks, potentially longer, depending on how long the president may be symptomatic or continues to test positive for this disease. If there's one thing we've learned about COVID-19 and the coronavirus since this pandemic began, is that it runs the range of symptoms and the way it presents itself in so many different people. Some folks have no problems with it. Some people have horrible health outcomes with it. So really, it's going to depend on the White House physician and the White House medical office monitoring the president and judging by whether or not his tests continue to come back positive, what his symptoms are like. They'll ultimately make the final decision as to when he can end his quarantine.
Let's talk a little bit about Joe Biden and testing there. We know that he was supposed to be tested at some point today. He may have already been tested. Do we have any information yet on if he's been tested yet, when we might get those results back?
Well, we don't know about the results yet or what kind of a timeline they're working on with that, but we do know the former vice president and his wife were both tested. Keep in mind, these are also people, the Bidens, along with their inner circle, who are tested regularly, just given the position that he holds right now in this campaign. So there is some level of equity between the testing procedures for both Joe Biden and President Trump. They're both tested very regularly, so that if either one of them tests positive, that can be caught early. So in terms of the vice president's test, though, we don't know when those results will be back. But you have to imagine he has been tested at least once, if not more, since that debate happened.
Trevor, what do you expect what kind of impact do you think this is going to have on future debates?
Well, I mean, again, that's just one of the million-dollar questions that we're dealing with today. In terms of the next presidential debate, which is expected to start, which is scheduled for October 15th, whether or not that's going to happen is something that's going to be up to the debate commission. And again, it goes back to what I was just talking about, that a lot of this is dependent on the president's quarantine schedule and when the White House doctors are able to evaluate him and say, okay, you've tested, you're in the clear, you've had multiple negative tests, you're not symptomatic. That's essentially when they'll be able to release him from that quarantine if the president decides to follow the CDC quarantine guidelines. So in terms of that next debate, that's probably something we're going to learn over the next few days as to what that looks like. Keep in mind, the format of that debate is also a town hall debate, so it's not going to be just the two of them on a stage with a moderator like we saw the other night. It was planned at least to be a format where there were multiple undecided voters in the room, obviously at safe social distances, but they were going to be asking the president and the former vice president their questions. So who knows what that debate format is going to look like now, or at this point whether or not it's even going to happen.
What are your predictions on how this is going to impact the Supreme Court nomination, of course, Judge Amy Coney Barrett?
Yeah, so we do know this morning that Judge Barrett has tested negative for the virus. That's some good news, especially given the close proximity and the interaction that she's been having, not only with senators as she's been meeting with them, but also members of the president's inner circle, whether that's Chief of Staff Mark Meadows or other people that have a lot of that are going back and forth between the White House and Capitol Hill a lot. Republican leadership has come out this morning. I believe it was Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, who chairs the Judiciary Committee. All indications we've gotten so far is that this process will continue along as scheduled. Republicans are really pushing hard, even before this diagnosis, to get this nomination confirmed prior to Election Day.
I know you're going to have to run, but one question real quick, stocks. What's Wall Street looking like, and are we expecting a big hit on Wall Street as we start to learn more about what's happening at the White House, more about the quarantine, more about the president's symptoms?
So I really haven't been keeping my eye on the stock market as of the past hour or so, but I do know this morning when the news first broke of the president's positive diagnosis, the futures, though, at least dropped off. So whether or not they're going to rise again or level off during the day is anybody's guess. But it's certainly not good news under any circumstances when you've got this kind of a health risk or scare for the president of the United States, whoever that may be.
Trevor, the most powerful man in the world in a quarantine situation at the White House. Trevor Shirley in Washington, thank you so much. We will continue to follow any developments from the White House. You can get the very latest right now right here on this website. You can also get the very latest on newsnationnow.com. But we want to now move to job numbers. America's employers added 661,000 jobs in September. That's the third straight month of slower hiring, according to the final jobs report before the presidential election. With September's hiring gain, the economy has recovered only slightly. More than half of the 22 million jobs that were wiped out by the coronavirus pandemic. The roughly 10 million jobs that remain lost exceed the number that the nation shed during the entire 2008-2009 Great Recession. Let's head out to the West this week, where it marks 3 years since Las Vegas's darkest day. A gunman fired more than 1,000 rounds into a crowd of outdoor concert goers on the Las Vegas Strip, killing 58 people. It became the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. Survivors joined the family and friends of the fallen to remember the victims. Here's Sasha Loftus.
And grace will lead us home.
A sunrise ceremony marking a devastating memory, a day that changed thousands of lives forever. Albert Rivera lost his daughter, 21-year-old Jordan, in the attack.
Jordan would have been the first to graduate in our immediate family. To have seen and witnessed that would have been a true joy.
It was also a time to recognize everyone on the front lines, the first responders, doctors, and Good Samaritans.
People were bringing down victims in the back of their pickup truck and in the back seat of their car. Didn't matter who they were, they saw someone in need. They picked them up and they brought them down here.
Las Vegas Sheriff Joe Lombardo officially increased the death toll today from 58 to 60. It includes 2 women who died in the last year, Kimberly Gervais and Samantha Arjun.
We were all there when they took the respirator off, and I see my child didn't breathe anymore.
Yesterday, we learned MGM Resorts and its insurers will pay $800 million to settle a lawsuit. MGM acknowledges no liability in the settlement.
We all are on different paths in this journey, but it is still one big path in the end.
Minda Smith's sister, Nasa Davis Tonks, was also killed at the Harvest Festival. Through the pain, she says she's mustering the strength to move forward with the help of every other family who's feeling the same sorrow.
I think as the years have gone on, especially this 3rd year and after the pandemic of people being locked up and being so alone, I think that people need this human connection to heal.
And nearby, a healing garden to remember the smiling faces of dozens of people gone too soon, a tree providing shade in each of their memories.
Firefighters in Northern California expect to stare down hot, dry winds today as they battle the so-called glass fire. The blaze, which started Sunday, has consumed more than 58,000 acres in Napa and Sonoma counties. As of last night, it was 5% contained. A huge fire line has been drawn to prevent the wildfire from jumping highways in the area. Fire personnel from all over the state standing their ground against nature. Moving to the Midwest, where 2 Memphis teachers temporarily lost control of their virtual classroom last week when a technical glitch forced them off a Zoom video conference with students. The aftermath now going viral. Here's Luke Jones.
The face you give when you have no idea
what happened.
What just happened. Second graders at St. George's Independent School's Memphis campus
He's sad.
whiling away the time last Thursday when a technical glitch kicked their teachers out of virtual class.
It was so early in the day. We had just gotten started. Please just wait.
Teacher Rachel Levine was cut off mid-sentence. Not that she knew it.
I was just continuing to offer instructions to the children. I had no idea I was frozen. And suddenly we were then kicked out.
With both teachers gone, Zoom automatically passed control of the classroom to one of the students.
I'm gonna see if I can mute y'all.
But not all of his classmates were impressed with his teaching ability.
He did okay, but he muted us about 3 times.
For the next 11 minutes, students sorted through their own technical difficulties.
What do we do?
Showed off their toys.
I'm playing football, Jeremiah.
And even posed some pointed questions to fellow students.
Why you got a mask on, Jeremiah?
He has his reasons.
I was just wearing it because I wanted to feel like what they feel like when they're in class.
Class, where many of these students long to be again.
I said we were in kid heaven.
It was kind of kid heaven, huh?
Why not let them take the reins once in a while?
But I was wondering, what is it like to be a host? And how do you mute everybody at the same time?
All right, let's bring in Todd Demers, an anchor from Memphis. Todd, this is like a virtual recess.
Do you remember when you were in class and the teacher would say, okay, I'm going to step out of the class for just a minute and I expect everybody to be really good. I guess this is where you find out whether the kids are going to be really good or not. And
Yeah.
I think most of these kids were good. I mean, nobody went nuts and said, okay, the teacher's gone, let's play. Everybody said, well, we're in the middle of a class here. We got to figure something out. I'd be very proud of those second graders.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they just looked like it was almost relief because I'm sure they haven't seen some of their friends in a while. And, of course, when the teacher's on there, you're not really yourself. So now that the teachers were gone, it was an opportunity to really, catch up.
Yeah, and I hope parents were pretty proud of as far as the kids not going too crazy. I have to ask you, Mitch, you got any youngins?
No,
you got any kids yet?
No, I don't. No,
you
I
want
don't.
some? I've got extras. I just want you to know I got plenty over here. What I'm saying is I really think those parents have to be impressed with the way the kids handle themselves as well.
Well, I know this. When I have kids, mine probably would be the ones to hijack the camera and start going through the house. And, well, look what I did last night,
This is what my dad does for a living, and he's taught me well. So let's go and let me check out what's happening, all right? I'll be your sports reporter for the day. But I think it's a great story. I'm sure that, we've had some problems with that in the past where those live streams have been hijacked by not so good people. And I think this is an interesting situation where the teachers now are going to probably have to say, you know what, we need a backup here in case we go away. Little Johnny, would you please take control of the classroom until I can get back online? So we might be learning something along the way here as well. But I think as far as what happened, I think we kind of had the best of both worlds.
You're right, because as soon as I thought, or as I was watching this story, I was thinking about that case, and I think it was out of Florida, where the judge had his courtroom hacked via Zoom. And we saw what could happen if you have people that really want to, create a buzz and start playing music and things like that. This was a very good outcome.
It was, and I think it was an unexpected glitch that caused all of this to happen. I'm pretty sure they're not going to put some new safeguards in there to make sure that it doesn't happen again. But, this is technology, and, we've got 100,000 kids here in the Memphis area that are online every day going to class. I've got a daughter who's online going to class as well. She's a senior. I'd rather her be in school, but, we got to be safe rather than sorry. And I think we're continuing to learn an awful lot. This past year has been very interesting, and now these kids are getting firsthand knowledge on how to deal with the situation, and I couldn't be prouder of them. I think they did they're all in their uniforms. They were all kind of, did you see that one child just kind of said, okay, guys, we're here, we're doing this? You know who the future leaders of America are, don't you?
Oh,
they're
absolutely.
Right there.
And that young lady that said, okay, what is it like to be the host?
Yeah.
Just watch Todd locally in Memphis, right?
I'm here in the mornings and at noon for you. I'm ready to go. You can watch us on all of those apps as well. So we're here for you doing news and weather 24/7.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Have a good day in Memphis.
Thank you, Mitch. We're just right here on the banks of the mighty Mississippi River in downtown, getting ready to enjoy some beautiful weather.
We'll talk soon, Todd. Thanks so much. A man dubbed the French Spider-Man scaled a skyscraper in Frankfurt, Germany Thursday without a harness and wearing cowboy boots. Dressed in a silver-colored suit, Spider-Man climbed up the 32-story, 544-foot-tall building with ease and briefly waved to bystanders below once he reached the rooftop. It was a normally busy intersection. It was closed. You see firefighters with ladders and an ambulance were there standing by. The 58-year-old man has climbed more than 100 structures, including the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Boy, you just got to think about what is going through his mind when he's climbing that. I bet, the one person I think could do something like that? The producer of this show, Matt Sewell.
You're right.
I know he could. All right, that's our show for you. We will see you back here Monday, same time, same place. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Is he strong? Listen, bud. He's got radioactive blood. Can he swing?